Okay, so now we're going to do our home lab where we're going to build a windsock. And the idea behind this is when you're talking about renewable energy sources, in particular wind energy, you can't just build a wind turbine anywhere. So one of the ways that you can tell if it's a good wind site or a bad wind site is with a windsock. And so that's what you'll have your students do in this exercise today. So what you're going to need is you're going to need paper or construction paper. You're going to need a plastic bag from a shopping bag, scissors, string, either glue, tape, or staples, and a hole punch. So once we've got that, we start off, I'll move some of this out of the way. We're going to take our construction paper, we're going to do it long ways, and we're going to fold it into thirds here. And once we do that, we're going to tape it in place. Alright, so I've got that. Take a couple of pieces of tape. Put one there. Put one in the middle. And one at the end. Alright, I'm going to set that aside. Now, we're going to take our plastic bag here. And we really only want to use about half of this bag. So the first thing we're going to do is cut off the handles, the handle end. And I'm just going to chop those off real quick. And now we've got our bag here. Like I said, we're only going to use about half of this. So I'm going to now take my scissors, cut the bag in half. Actually, I'll just cut a big square out of it. Or a rectangle, actually. It's probably not a perfect square. Over here, oops, get my ends done better there. That, I have that, cut that off. This part I do not need, this is what I needed. Alright, so I've got roughly a rectangular shape, and it's about the same size, because what's going to happen is I'm going to cut a bunch of slits in this part of the plastic, and then I'm going to tape this onto this. So, let's do the slits. And now I'll take my scissors, and I don't want to go all the way, I want to stop about an inch or two from the end. You see this goes pretty quickly. Each one of these streamers is going to be about an inch wide. This plastic is very easy to cut, so your students shouldn't have any problems with that. You could even use safety scissors because this plastic is very easy to cut. So here I am, I've almost got all of my streamers. This one I'm going to go ahead and divide in the middle, like that. Okay, so now you can see I've got my plastic here. This part's all solid, these are all streamers, so now I'll turn it back this way, because again, this is now going to get taped onto that. So I grab my tape over here, and tape the plastic to the construction paper that I've already folded. Put a couple of pieces of tape on that to hold it in place. Alright, and actually it's a little long, so I'm going to go ahead and cut off this last streamer there. Don't need that. So now, you can see how this is working. That's in place. So now, I'm going to take this and roll it up into a hoop. Like that. And then I will tape this together. Hold it in place, put a piece of tape there, and then put another piece of tape at the back. Alright, so now you can see I've got the beginnings of a windsock here. Now I'm going to need some holes so that I can attach my strings. My pieces of string are about 1 foot long. I've got 3 of those. That'll be enough. I'm going to take my hole punch, and I want to punch holes, 3 holes about equidistance. There's a little vocabulary word for your students. You can ask them what equidistance means when you give them those instructions. And you punch out your holes. So now I've got my 3 holes that are roughly equidistance around the circle. And then I'm going to take my string, pass it through these holes and make a simple knot to tie it in place. So I'll do that, and I'll actually double knot it because I don't want it to come loose. That's pretty good. Do this again on the other two holes. Single knot it there, and then double knot it. That should hold it. You could also use fishing line. I had some string handy, so that's what I used. Yarn would also work for this step as well. My single knot, and then I'll finish up with my double knot. Okay, so now once you've got your string on there, what you'll do is you'll grab all three pieces of string and you'll suspend the windsock. And what you're trying to do is make it so that each piece of string is about the same length. And then you're going to put a knot in all three of them. Bind them all three together like that. That looks pretty good. Oh, I don't think I made that opening big enough to put all three through. There we go. And I'll draw all three through. Tighten that knot up. And so now I've got a windsock there, and what I would do is I could put another longer piece of string, or I could attach this to a nail or something like that, to a post or something out there, or like I said, I could attach a much longer piece of string, and that way I could hang it off of something out in my backyard. And so again, the idea of this is when you put this up outside, the wind's going to come through, it's going to blow the windsock, and this will give you an idea of how much wind you have at your site. Maybe it's at your school or at your home, and this is one of the ways that you could go out and observe it periodically, and you could see, do we have constant wind, do we have gusty winds, and that would give you an indication of whether or not your site is a suitable site for renewable wind energy. So that's been our STEM4Parents home lab, building windsock. Thank you very much.